And the strategy has changed completely. What are Marvel's plans to reinvent itself in front of its audience? After the intro, we'll talk about the return of the powerful one. Hold on. Hello, Pop Consumer Society, we're back. Let's talk about Marvel Studios, which is reinventing itself. Little by little, changes are happening. The brakes are being pulled. The productions are dwindling. So things that were already being produced, that were already shelved, are coming out, like for example Agatha Ironheart, Captain America, and Brave New World, which were projects that had been postponed and rewritten for a long time and were difficult to produce, came out, passed, and now from here on out everything is going to be different. And Marvel is taking its first big step to reposition itself in the market, which is not being in Hall H at Comic-Con. In my opinion, this is important and good. It's bad because we don't get any information, right? They could, Fabricio Marvel could be there announcing the whole Phase 7, just put everything on the table, announce movies all the way to 2035. We'd have a lot to talk about, the hype would grow, and Marvel would come back. No, man, that would just make Marvel do what they were doing in Phases 4, 5, and 6 too. Announcing things way too far in advance, and mainly for one reason. Marvel doesn't have anything to show. The only thing that's being produced right now at Marvel Studios, actually being filmed, is Doomsday Avengers Doomsday, which was postponed to next year precisely to get more time to prepare. If Marvel at Hall H of Comic-Con announces Phase 7, X-Men, all that stuff way ahead, it's going to create a second hype that will take away from Avengers, which is Marvel's next big moment. That's when things are going to blow up. And Fantastic Four, Pablo, you might ask me, Fantastic Four is going to premiere in the middle of Comic-Con. It's going to premiere there between the second and third day of Comic-Con. It's not worth bringing the Fantastic Four because everything that could be shown about Fantastic Four will have already been shown 2 days before the premiere. What else could happen? The cast has already been to Comic-Con. They've already presented. They've already shown the trailer, 3 trailers, a bunch of extras. There's nothing left to show about Fantastic Four at Comic-Con. And doing a Fantastic Four presentation right on the eve of the premiere won't have that much of an impact at the box office. There's Wonder Man, which is a series coming out at the end of the year, but even Wonder Man doesn't have enough pull to sustain a small presentation, let alone the big announcement hall at Comic-Con. Even though Marvel has announced that it's not at Comic-Con, it's not in Hall H and so on, other studios aren't there either. Sony isn't going to present anything. Sonic has Spider-Man. Legendary isn't going to present anything. Legendary has King Kong and Dune. Warner isn't going to present anything from Detective Comics. James Gunn has said he won't be at this Comic-Con. They won't present anything. I hoped he'd talk about Supergirl, but he won't attend. They'll wait for Superman's numbers before making more marketing decisions. So the studios are being very careful about this so-called superhero fatigue and about the general box office fatigue in theaters. These big nerd movies aren't getting as much attention from the audience as they used to. The whole story of making anything, that if you put the Marvel Studios label on it, it's going to sell. It's going to make money at the box office, which is a feeling we had back in the day, for example, with Guardians of the Galaxy, when a movie came out about a team of characters nobody knew, but it had Marvel Studios on it, so people would go see it and the theaters would be packed. Pausing to assess the situation before deciding is crucial now, as this is no longer the norm. Both Marvel Studios and Disney, including Star Wars, are making this choice and remaining silent. Paramount isn't going to have any big announcements. Universal isn't going to have any big announcements. It's basically an empty slate when it comes to big movie announcements. Nobody is saying anything. Everyone is waiting. Everyone is staying quiet to work on this hype better, right? I think a lot of people are waiting to see what Disney is going to do before they act. So if Disney doesn't act, everyone just stays in this staring contest. If I don't blink, you don't blink. Who's going to blink first? I drew the line. Who will cross it first? That whole story. So I think Marvel made the right decision not to hype anything except Avengers until next year. Not to say anything about Avengers. It's way too far away to keep the hype going for a year and a half. and there's nothing to announce right now, so it's better to stay out of it instead of making investments and putting on a presentation at Comic-Con. It's better to put investments into television spots, internet for Fantastic Four at the last minute, even though what really drives these studios is pre-sales. Pre-sales are the main starting point for any production, and pre-sales for Fantastic Four are already happening. There's nothing else to announce right now. Next year, at the next Comic-Con, then maybe we'll have a busy year, because more productions will be underway, and we'll have 6 months until Avengers. 6 months is the time when most of the first trailers are shown. Now imagine if after a 1-year hiatus, without saying anything about Marvel at Comic-Con, Kevin Feige shows up with the cast and the first trailer, then you have hype that can last throughout the whole second half of the year, peaking in December when the movie premieres. Then you could have something really special, something strong. Spider-Man will come before that. So far, Spider-Man is announced, so maybe it would be good to have Spider-Man 6 months before, thinking about 6 months before Comic-Con experience, which has also become an interesting stage for first announcements. So maybe we'll get something about Spider-Man at the end of the year. But Marvel is doing the right thing. They're going to reduce the pressure. Marvel used to make 1 movie a year in phase 1, 2 movies a year in phase 2, 3 movies a year in phase 3. When phase 4 came, it got crazy. There were 3 movies a year, sometimes 4. Then Sony was making Spider-Man, and there were 4 more series a year. The audience got confused with the amount of stories, the amount of things that started to spread out in different directions without any connection. Rational, and that the audience was used to this connection. Phase 1, 2, and 3 were very connected. Everything made sense for the Infinity Saga. Starting from phase 4, it spread out too much, and the audience, initially thinking it made sense as a single story, grew tired of the excessive content and couldn't keep up. Disney thought that Star Wars and Marvel would fully sustain Disney+. That's not what happened. Now they're returning to a more minimalistic approach. Cinema is cinema. Let's focus on telling our story. Cinema, look, we've made it there. Now series. The series won't interfere with the cinema, and the cinema won't interfere with the series. Series characters are series characters. Movie characters are movie characters. Marvel Television, alright, just over there. So they won't interfere with each other anymore. Trying to get Marvel to reverse what's become known as fatigue of superheroes, which some people say doesn't exist, that it's actually fatigue from good scripts or good movies, and I even agree, but it's a general fatigue from the non-comic book, non-nerd audience for this kind of movie. It's not filling up theaters like it used to. Captain America is not considered a bad movie, unlike Brave New World. It's average to above average. Most people think it's okay. However, Thunderbolts failed to attract a wide audience despite being a movie. Great for fans and those who watched it. Critics and audiences liked it, but the general public wasn't interested and left it to watch at home. They didn't find it funny, so that's the thing, the fatigue. They stopped making Marvel movies into event movies, just like Pixar movies too. And I think streaming is largely to blame for that. Streaming has made the experience of watching movies at home much more enjoyable. So for the audience, choosing what to watch in theaters has become common. People are more selective now, with Detective Comics releasing a lot of content and alternative superheroes from other publishers gaining popularity. Also coming out with a lot of content, with a lot of things, and we got into that trend that's temporary and seems to have lost its strength. Let's see if they can get this buzz going again, and these changes that are happening at Marvel might have that purpose. So nothing about Phase 7 for now, just Avengers and Doomsday after Avengers and Doomsday. And Secret Wars, then yes, they announce it. New productions, because they will end up competing with the movies that are already scheduled and being produced. And do you think this strategy works? Is it good to take a break to breathe? So we can start missing Marvel content again? Or not? Do you think it's cheating? That the audience will end up drifting away even more without stimulation? Write your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be back soon with more pop culture topics. After the sale, channel options will appear to stay with me longer. See you later, soon, in a bit. Bye. That was another piece from Cuatro Coisas, which posts at least 3 videos daily, Monday through Sunday. If you enjoyed it, check out these additional tips. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the bell for new notifications. Thank you very much. See you next time.